Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining Ben and I for another episode talking Bears NFL draft. We are making this on Wednesday. The draft is, of course, tomorrow night, Thursday. Super exciting times to be an NFL fan and, of course, a Bears fan. The rumors have only picked up with Justin Fields. We, of course, have his highlights on screen. I've seen the Bears trading up. I've seen the Bears trading down, mostly trading up, though. And the consensus on when they trade up is to get Mr. Fields. Super exciting. I'm a huge Justin Fields fan, as I know Ben is as well.
I am.
So we are pulling for that. We'll see what happens though. But we're gonna touch on Justin Fields first. The epilepsy thing, not an issue. I've listened to numerous podcasts and listened to the radio, and I've heard that no NFL teams' doctors have put anything on that. It doesn't matter. So I want to get that out of the way first. And then also, his arm strength, some teams believe, is better than Trevor Lawrence and better than any quarterback in the draft, even Trey Lance, which going into this year, I didn't question, but I'm like, no, Trevor Lawrence and Trey Lance, they got a better arm than him. They can fire it deeper. I guess that's changed. Of course, that throw against Clemson in the college football Peach Bowl or Sugar Bowl semifinal really stood out. But I'll leave the floor to Ben. Ben, what do you like and what do you dislike about Justin Fields?
I believe he's the second best player in this draft class, only behind Trevor Lawrence. If you watch the highlights, you can see does a great job of taking pressure in the pocket and delivering. He has a gun. Let's not get that wrong. I don't think he has quite as good an arm as Trevor Lawrence, but hey, it's up there, and that's saying something. And
it's up there. I actually think it is, but accuracy-wise, Trevor Lawrence is better.
The deep ball of Trevor Lawrence is probably the best I've seen in a long time. But and besides the point, I think what Justin Fields brings to the table is not just that arm strength, but really good elusiveness that fits with the modern NFL game. As you just saw with that rushing touchdown, he can get out of the pocket, he can move, he can take hits. He's 6'3", he's a sturdy guy. I really like this guy. I think he's better than Zach Wilson, and I think he's better than any of the other quarterbacks except for Trevor Lawrence in this draft class.
I do as well. And if you disregard the first 3 quarters against Northwestern, I'd say pretty much the whole game against Northwestern and the second half against the Indiana Hoosiers, I think he does end up going number 2 overall. But yes, he imploded a little bit there. No one's gonna say anything about that. Trey Sermon had to carry them in both of those games. But let's move forward and let's talk other potential first rounders really quickly. I want to talk second and third rounders though, because we haven't really talked about that in the channel. First rounders, other than Justin Fields. I'm liking the corners. I'm liking Caleb Farley, Greg Newsome, Pat Surtain if he's somehow there. I'm a big fan of him. Offensive guard, of course, Vera Tucker from UCLA. USC. I'm not a huge fan of his game, but Ben is, and he's by far the best offensive guard, and that's exactly what the Bears need. So I'd go with the scouts there. They, of course, know more than I do. Safety, Trevor Moehrig. Trevon Moehrig from TCU. He's probably actually my favorite guy other than Justin Fields. If you're there at 20 and he was there, and let's say Farley and Newsome and Surtain, of course, and Vera Tucker are no longer in the picture, I'd go with him. Tevin Jenkins from Oklahoma State is another guy. Ben was talking to me about him earlier. Christian Darrisaw, another guy. If Slater's there, I'd of course pick him, but I doubt he's there. He's most likely going to go in the lottery. But yeah, a few guys. I'll let Ben touch on those handful of guys too.
Yeah, Brad did list, I'd say, the possibilities for the Bears at number 20. I think,
and I'm confident the Bears pick one of those guys. Really confident.
I agree, especially in those position groups: cornerback, safety, O-line, and if it happens, quarterback. I still doubt that will happen, but it's possible they make a move, or by some crazy luck, a quarterback falls to 20 that the Bears can't pass up on. But I do think cornerback or safety is going to be the first look here as we get an ad.
Yeah, I can't skip it. Dang it.
No problem. But I think out of cornerbacks, the most likely to still be there at number 20 is Greg Newsome, the Northwestern corner who just balled out in the Big Ten championship game, as Slater did last year against Chase Young. I think he honestly is a great cornerback, and he's extremely quick, good physical guy, good just all around what you'd like to see in a cornerback. So if he's there, I think he's the best bet, and I think he's most likely to be there. O-line, we talked about. Why did I just blank? The Oklahoma State guy, Tevin.
Tevin Jenkins,
I just
right,
forgot his
pure
name.
right tackle, played right tackle
Yeah.
all throughout college.
And then Elijah Vera Tucker from USC. If we want an offensive guard, by far the best in the class. Even if Brad's not high on him, even if he's not a top 10 player, but he's still good enough to be taken at number 20 if he's there. So yeah, those are the guys that you'd be looking at. And I did say I've seen Micah Parsons falling in some mocks. If he's there at 20, I think you got to go with him. But Brad and I talked about this, and we don't think he'll be there at 20.
No, I agree with Ben there. Let's move to second round targets as we see Justin Fields deck out a Michigan State corner. Second round for me personally, if they stay at 52, I've seen them move around here and there in a few mocks. I'm really high on Liam Eichenberg from Notre Dame. I think you can plug him in at right tackle right away and he will start. I'm also quite high on Terrence Marshall from LSU. Big fan of him. I think he's a very solid player, and I think he'll be a pretty good NFL player. I don't think he has the upside of Jamar Chase and Devonta Smith, but I really think he can be a good wide receiver too. Maybe a low-end wide receiver one if we get there, but hopefully we'll extend Allen Robinson, who is on good terms with the Bears right now for maybe the first time ever. And then a couple more names, Rondell Moore from Purdue, but we kind of got that. We have Tariq Cohen and we have Money Mooney, so I don't know how much of a need that is. And then two more guys, Alex Leatherwood, the offensive guard from Bama. I could see him playing right guard this year. And Javon Holland, big-time name to know. Safety from Oregon, did not play this past season for COVID, and that definitely hurt him, but I still really like his game. I'll pass it on to Ben.
Yeah, once again, I'm going to be echoing Brad here. Receiver is a position in the second round where I do feel like the Bears will take a long look if there are certain guys available. I'll bring up Rashad Bateman, Minnesota dude. Tyler Johnson, you might recognize the name. He's a Buccaneer now. He was a 6th round pick. He went to Minnesota. And Rashad Bateman is a more talented player. I believe he's probably a 2nd round player. But I've seen him go late 1st round. Just really good catching the ball, route running.
Extremely good player. I just don't believe he'll be there.
He's not super fast. That's his downside, but everything else about him is great. And I don't think he'll be there, but the speed, lack of top end speed could drag him down slightly. I doubt he'll be at 52. But I also doubt that Rondell Moore will be at 52. So it's basically, if they want a receiver, those guys are options. And then I'll bring up another name, Andre Sisco at safety, Syracuse guy who didn't play much of 2020 after suffering an injury, but had 12 interceptions in his career prior to that. So he's a ball hawk, and he's highly touted by the scouts. So if we're looking at safety there, Brad mentioned Javon Holland. I'm going to talk about Andre Sisco there.
You look at what the Bears did a few years ago with Eddie Jackson, who had an incredible start of the year for Alabama, tore his ACL, was out that year. Yeah. And then I believe he declared 4th rounder. Incredible value, though, and look how he turned out. Now, Sisco is not going to be a 4th rounder by any means, as I'm going to close this ad. But still, great point by Ben. Let's move to 3rd round, and then we'll get out of here. We will also have a video tomorrow. I think Ben might be making one about Michigan's guys. I might be making one about Notre Dame's guys. I wasn't gonna, but I might now. We'll see. And then on Friday morning, we will have one going over what happened in round 1 and our thoughts. And then Saturday morning, we will have another one talking about what happened Friday in day 2, round 2 and 3. That will probably be strictly Bears, and then maybe a little bit of shockers, who rose, who fell, whatever. Just regular draft buzz that we want to cover. So 3rd round, let's go to the 3rd round. A name that sticks out to me, and I've seen him mocked to the Bears, Wyatt Davis. I saw him late 1st round, maybe halfway through the season, late season. He's fallen heavy. Aaron Banks, offensive guard from Notre Dame. That might be a little bit of a reach. I feel like he's going to be a late 3rd rounder, not a mid. But once you get past the 2nd round, I feel like everything is more up in the air. And I would not be mad if the Bears took him in the 3rd round. Not mad at all. Talked about Alex Leatherwood. And then Walker Little is one more name I'll throw out there. If he's there in round 3, former 5-star, I believe he was the number 3 overall player in the country. I would 100% take him. 6'7", 315. Dude's huge.
Man.
Hasn't actually played a game since week 1 of 2019, which is kind of crazy. Opted out of the 2020 season. But in round 3, I'd take a chance on a former 5-star. And yeah, I would. I think he's that kind of talent.
Yeah, I mean, the height and weight you just listed are off the charts, and I didn't know much about this guy, but if Brad likes him, I like him. I'm gonna bring up a name who was a first rounder literally 6-8 months ago, Shaun Wade, cornerback, Ohio State.
No. I hate Shaun Wade.
I know you hate him.
Wyatt Davis is by far the better Buckeye.
Because he got demolished in the college football playoff against Devontae Smith. And look, that is true. He got demolished, but I was reading up on this guy. Playing through an injury that game, he was an all Big Ten
corner. He talks so much and he can't do anything. He's the biggest trash talker there. Like
he was a first runner last season, one bad game. He still won Big Ten Corner of the Year. He was still a very good player for Ohio State, and he's fallen way outside the top 3 rounds. And I think that's mainly because he just had his worst game of his life against Devontae Smith in the college football playoff final. And I feel like Brad's talking about taking chances. The tape's still good on Shaun Wade. He had an iffy year last year because he was playing through a lot of injuries. Go back 1 year. Go back to 2019. He was the best corner.
He was probably a first runner, but he wanted to stay and win a chip. And you know what? They didn't win a chip, and he's nowhere near day one.
I respect the desire, and I respect the fact that he was playing through injuries. There's no reason that he would have just played that much worse if he wasn't injured. I think if he gets healthy,
his dad did show up to the Big Ten offices in Melrose Park, Illinois, or not Melrose Park, Rosemont, Illinois, and protested for them to have a season. So shout out to Shaun Wade's dad. I'm going to say that.
And he wanted to play. I respect it, and it hurt him monetary wise. It hurt him draft stock wise. But 3rd round, maybe 4th round, even if we didn't get a corner early on, I'd take a look at him, especially because I think all the negativity is coming from one place, really. So I don't know. I'm just throwing him out there. And then
if he's there in the 4th, I'd take him, but 3rd, I don't know.
And I guess Brad mentioned a couple names. If we're looking at receiver, Shi Smith, potentially. And I don't really have many names right now, but I just wanted to throw out Shaun Wade because I was just shocked by how far he's fallen in the mock drafts after what I would consider one or maybe a couple iffy games.
Yeah, I mean, very well could be right. We will see. You do see these stories of guys like Jake Fromm. Look at that. Yeah. Dude was projected to be a top 3 overall pick. Had a terrible senior year at Georgia. Now a 6th rounder, and the 3rd stringer on the Bills. I will say, I was talking to someone on my water polo team. The Bills do have the best quarterback room in football. Mitch Trubisky, Jake Fromm, and Josh Allen. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah,
I want to point that out.
That is good. That is good.
And you've also seen guys like Eddie Jackson, who's fallen after an injury or something, but injury is different. I'm trying to think of a guy that had a terrible senior year and fell and then rose right back to the top. Anyone off the top of your head, Ben? I got no one.
Off the top of my head, not from non-injury. I can give you a couple names from injury.
Like
just fell to like the 5th round after tearing his ACL against Florida State. And then Jalen Smith from Notre Dame also fell not too far, but he did fall because of an injury in the bowl game, right?
Yeah, same with Miles Jack. Yeah, Jalen Smith was a projected top 10 pick. Probably would have been Butkus Award winner. The Fiesta Bowl, number 5 or 6 maybe, Notre Dame, Ohio State, or maybe 6 versus 7, 7 versus 8 in Phoenix. Jalen Smith, I think it was the 1st or 2nd quarter, tears his ACL, absolutely horrific injury. And he went from, I think he would not have fallen past 7 or 8 in that draft, and all the way to the 2nd round. Emotional, but he's come back in a big way, and he's definitely one of the best linebackers, or at least one in the better half of the linebackers in the NFL.
And that's kind of why you're seeing – this is a little off topic, but that's why you see so many college players just opting out of bowl games and even opting out of seasons at this point.
If you have no shot at a championship or something meaningful to you, at least personally, I would leave.
Exactly, and it's money. At a certain point, they're going to start getting paid, and that's a whole different discussion. But until that point, you go if there's nothing to play for.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, viewers, for watching. We appreciate it. We will see you with a bunch of new videos in the next few days. And that is it for Ben and I. Peace.